Welcome to our second video for Configuration Manager current branch. This is a SCCM. The old name is SCCM. And in our last video, we have shown you how to deploy this whole application, which is pretty complex on Azure. So the whole part of this is to understand that I just wanted to show you that how you can install this complex, setup in your environment if you want to use it in Azure. Just do remember that it's going to charge you if you have trial, or if you have don't have any trial, then they're going to charge you in Azure. Okay, so now of course we want to move into more support learning when it comes to SCCM or Configuration Manager. Now, if you are one of those people like, okay, you know what, I really want to learn this, I want to learn this like an engineer level, then there is no better way than using a documentation and also getting a book on Amazon or something like that. We are going to do a pretty detailed course on this side, the sysadmin level side, in future, but at this point our focus is just support, right? That was our main goal from the first video. So when you go to a company, now that things are done already for you, just like Active Directory. Somebody install it and then you manage it as a support level, then this is done for you. So you can think of me like your sysadmin right now. I have configured all this stuff, and I'm just gonna now teach you a support level stuff that you're going to be doing on this configuration manager. So if we go back, where did we left? We basically left it where we installed it on this machine, which is our PS01 machine, and now we are going to open Configuration Manager. If you guys remember, it was asking me to install a new version in the beginning. When I opened it, it was simply a click and it just installed and then automatically opened the new version for me right here. There's nothing else that I have done over here. So now you can see when you go to a company, and if you tell people that you know about SCCM, then they have expectations from you. They know that you know what is users over here, what is devices. So most of the things that you would be doing as a support level, a lot of people heavily use this, are for many reasons, but of course there are some top reasons. Number one is the remote tool over here. As a support professional, remember, when you get a call from someone, I am having an issue, I'm seeing this error on my machine, can you guys help me? Then that is what you are going to do the first thing, right? Here you can search machines over here and all that kind of stuff, but my goal over here is to show you what is important for you to practice if you want to practice or take out something from this video. So you go to the devices, and in this case, if let's say demo client 01 is our client having an issue, then you will right click over here, you're going to go to the machine and start, and over here you're going to click on remote control. Now when you do that, you see it's going out there and it's going to say, hey, are you there? And the machine is going to respond back and say, okay, I'm just going to get connected. And that is called, like, you're doing a shadow remote. So basically what's happening right now is that client is having an issue and you have this system, and basically you connect to the client while they're on their while they're actively using their machine. So they will see your name, they will see everything and what you're doing, and then when you finish the whole call, then that's it, right? So this is one of the major reasons a lot of people ask about SCCM. But now we're having an issue with this. So how would you troubleshoot this? So for this, let's understand what's happening over here. This is basically a server side, and a server side is trying to reach to this machine right here. Okay, so this machine needs to have some type of client, an agent installed on that machine. So the first thing is that how do we find out on that client machine now that where is this installation? So for that, I'm going to show you. You're going to go to your client machine in this or any other lab that you're doing if you have your own setup. So this is where you're going to go. You're basically going to go ahead and open the client machine. Now, I have some internet issues going on, which is great. That's happening live. Let's see what's going on. So if you're having a local internet issues, of course this is going to get disconnected. If you don't have any local issues, it's going to go ahead and it will reattempt again and will connect back again. So attempt 2, attempt 3, nothing happens. And how do I know if if Azure is working? I can see because I can log into the other machine. So this means my local connection is good to go. It's just having an issue with that client machine, and even showing right here that it's disconnected. So what's happening right here, let's see if we come over here and we can go back to virtual machines. We can see, let's go ahead and refresh this, that this machine is running CL and it's still doing the reconnect. So it wasn't successful to do that reconnect. We're gonna go ahead and open the demo CL. That's great that it's happening because I can do some live troubleshooting right here. And let's see if our okay, it's prompting at least, so that means that it's working. Okay, so I don't know what happened. That could be some kind of glitch, but there you go. Got disconnected, went back from the portal, connected back again, and I think everything is good to go. Now this is a client machine. Now remember, when we were connecting to this machine, it couldn't connect because, hey, there could be an issue, right? So if the client machine is down, one thing, it's not going to connect. If the client machine having a network issues, it's going to have issues to connect. If the client machine doesn't have that client, then it's going to have issues. So the first thing you want to make sure that, does this client have a client SCCM agent? So if you click on control panel right here, you can see it from by going to categories, view by, you can click on this small icon, and now you can see configuration manager right here. So if I click on it, of course, that's what this tells me, that it has a client. And also when we went back to our server, which is right here, this also verified that we have client. I can do a refresh over here. All right, so if I right click again, now I want to see if this client connection will work or not, because I wanted to show you something first, because a lot of you will try to do this and you will get stuck in this, because SCCM is very much like you need to know where to turn on things. Okay, so if I do remote control again, is it going to work? Is it going to work or not? So right now, what you're doing right now from a skills learning perspective, you're just doing kind of like a basic thing. You turn on the machine, you turn on the client, and you know that machine is working, it is responding, blah blah blah, all that kind of basics you're doing. But again, you need to focus over here, right? So this is an application, it needs some type of setup. So look what's happening right here. Now we need to understand how to read errors, because I want to teach you this stuff more than just knowing about application. If you look at it, it says possible causes for this includes the system is turned off. We already checked that it's on. The system cannot be reached over the network. We already know it has a network. You can try pinging that machine. If that's having an issue, then of course there's going to be a problem. The Windows firewall is not configured to allow remote control. So two things over here that we need to make sure. The Windows firewall is not configured to allow remote control. So the first thing we want to check is, does that can this server reach that client? So simple command that you learn from our fundamental courses. If this is brand new to you, you should go back to and take our program, because this is what you're going to learn. Everything that I'm doing right now is all basic help desk troubleshooting now. So that's what you need to learn. Demo. And what is the client name over here? This is right there on top. So demo CL01, and you can see the ping is actually working, right? So I have no issue because it's pinging the right name on the Active Directory, and it's also basically giving me the IP address. So all that kind of stuff is fine, no problem at all, right? I can ping from the client, I can ping the server, and I'm sure it's going to work. So we are good at this point. So the second point is that the Windows firewall is not configured to allow remote control. Okay, so that's another piece of this, is that a lot of people may think, okay, you know what, let's just go ahead and enable the remote control piece on a client machine. So we're going to go ahead and basically see if we can find out remote control settings. So if you type, oh, this is the wrong machine, actually I need to go inside this one right here, and I just type remote control. So if you look at the settings right here, it says allow remote connections to this computer. So if we come over here, you can see, if we can go to a check settings, Windows cannot access specified device path, blah blah blah, and appropriate permissions are required. Now this is because you're using this administrator account right here that is on domain account, right? So if I log into this account on a local access, I can do that. Now to fix this type of issues where you're unable to change this from an Active Directory account, you'll have to go to registry, you have to go to the local group policy of this machine, or you can use this from a domain group policy, but that's for later on. To fix it right now, you simply need to log into this machine with a local access. How do I do this? Now, again, basics, guys. If you guys don't know this stuff, take the fundamentals. But here I'm going to show you why I'm going to log in like that. So here I'm using a Contoso/CCM admin, but I'm going to change that. I'm going to click on demo, and that's the computer name CL01. You see, I'm logging into this machine as a local admin now. This is a local admin that we already created in the beginning of this lab. So now I'm logging into that machine with a local access to change that setting. You see other users logged in. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to log in, kick that person out. On your other profile, you just click on OK, and it's going to get disconnected. There you go. And now I'm going to go back to this profile. All right, so now if I go back and type remote, allow remote connections to this machine, and if I click on remote settings, you can see I can change it. So what does this tell us? It is allowed. So this means that our second option, that our remote tool is not working, is also good to go, because when this computer was actually deployed, it was deployed with all these settings. But if you are to do this on a brand new machine, then you need to know how to turn these settings on, just like I did. If you don't know these things, then of course you're missing. Or if, let's say for example, you found out today that, wow, this is something I didn't know at all, this means you have not taken our MD100 course and a fundamental course, because this is an operating system level skills right now. So keep that in mind, because I have to really this video will go long because of this whole reasons that we want to tell people that, look, you're going to need to know these things. The remote tool is one thing, but knowing about the systems and troubleshooting is another thing. So we are good to go from here as well. So what's going on over here? Let's go ahead and check what was the fourth reason. 1, 2, 3, 4th. Look at this. The remote control feature is disabled. Okay. The remote control feature is disabled. This is not talking about operating system. It's talking about this application has a capability to turn on the remote features or not. How do you know that? If you go back to your client now, your client, and we said that we can come back to this client machine and go to control panel, and we can click here, go to small icons, and we can open configuration manager. This is a client right here. So if you are having that type of issue, the first thing you need to actually see some of these features that are available over here. So if I click on components, this is what all the features that server is providing to this client right now. So because SCCM configuration manager is a pretty big thing, it can do a lot of things. It can do inventory, it can do core components, it can do some more policy stuff, it can do a lot of different things. But look and keep attention to here, remote tools agent. What does it say? It says disabled. Okay, that is where a problem is, because this is disabled. We're unable to do remote control. So now another thing you may be thinking, how did you install this client? Very good question. So to install this client, of course, companies have different methods: group policy, PDQ deployments, some other software deployments. It can even automatically connect and install clients based on how the server is configured. It can check that and do all this kind of stuff. Of course, that's out of that's kind of like where you're going to need to know that where the client is. So where's the client? The client is actually on the server. So if I do the // this skill that I'm using is basics now, right? Basic. We're going to come back to the basics. You may be like, how did you even get to the server now? Now, if I type over here, demo dc01/$. Did you know about this? You can actually get into another server or any other machine, and IT support professionals, if they have admin rights, they can actually get into any machines. And this is where I put warnings to people that if you're new to IT and you feel like this is one of the coolest things that you found, and you can just go to any other machines like that, then know that sysadmins, security admins can actually see this type of access, and you can get into huge trouble if you do that, right? Because you're getting into someone else's machine without their permission is a big thing. We do this process if we are working on a machines that users are not using, or if users have to be involved, and we have to let them know that I have to do something in your machine, I have to put something on it. They don't need to know the details, but at least you should warn them that you're going to be doing something. So now, where is that whole setup installed? Actually, I put a wrong machine. So look how I'm jumping from machine to machine. I know that this is not the right machine where the whole thing's installed. It's actually PS01. There you go. Okay, so now if you look at it, program files, this is where the configuration manager is now, right? They used to call it Microsoft System Center. Microsoft Configuration Manager is the new name. If you double click on it, it has all this installation in there. So if you look at the client right here, this is where all the information is available, okay, for the client. That piece that you see that on this machine, if I copy this whole folder and drop it right here, and then I run this client exe, then that file will be installed. But then of course after that, if you look at it, sometimes it may not detect the site or the server, so the site code. So this is where you need to then come over here. You need to click on configure settings, and you need to click whatever that code is from the server end. You need to have this site code, and when you do the find site code, it's going to go out there and find it. Now this finding and this whole process is a sysadmin kind of thing, right? They'll have to configure this whole thing for it to work. So to take you back and to just show you how this was all configured, now it's going to make more sense to you. So if you go to the administration, someone before you would have came over here and actually used all of these different settings over here. So starting from a discovery method, how did it discover these clients? By Active Directory System Discovery. So if you double click on this, it is basically using your Active Directory domain, and it's under under this domain, it's actually finding out machines for you. Then after that, it says what to find, what is the range of IP addresses that you want to target. Then it says that this is the range, and this is the only single boundary that is given into this. I can change that, and it will start finding out more machines if you are doing it that way. So you can see the client is only 6.6. This means it cannot even go out of that boundary. There's no 7 in there, so it's kind of like restricted. Okay, there's groups in there. Of course, in that group, then its boundary is designed right here. This is, again, it goes to boundary. So this is where things are configured by that sysadmin or configuration manager administrator. This is where he's doing his stuff, right? You're not doing this stuff. Now, if I come over here, I can connect this to our Intune, which is kind of like our endpoint manager. Now I can right click on here, configure co-management, and this is where your sysadmin would be doing this kind of thing, right? This is kind of like, this is this is more of like somebody have to meet with each other, and they have to decide that this is our flow of doing things now, right? You can't just turn these things on because it will impact your client machines. So here, if I come over here, we will have to pick the Azure public cloud, and if I sign in over here, it's basically going to I need to add it right here, but I need to add that here, and then it's going to ask me things. So if you see these kind of errors now of course, then you need to know how to stop these errors, right? You see how you're getting stuck step by step. If you're new to this stuff, then you need to know different things right here. So of course, we're not connecting this to Intune right now, so we don't care about this stuff, right? So we're not connecting this to Intune. This is something that we will be teaching when we are learning about the whole configuration manager. So if you look at the site configuration, sites is where you see the code and everything. The site code is right here. So if you ever find out that, okay, well, how do I find the code? You can actually come over here to the system. There's other ways you can do it too. This is a simple way. You can come over here and you see the site code right here, and that's where if you install the client directly with that installer and you don't have the code, then you're stuck. If you haven't done this by discovery method, right? If let's say this is a laptop and it's a work group laptop and you want to manage it through your SCCM, then of course it's not going to be able to, Active Directory won't be able to find it. So you need to know this information. Then you need to ask your coworkers or your whoever's you're maintaining this stuff, they can help you. The rest of the stuff is all admin stuff. Sometimes we have to come over here and as an administrators, or maybe if you have this kind of rights, then you may be told to, can you watch the status? So if I click on site status, everything should be okay. But if there's something critical, you can see one critical, then we need to know about it. We need to see this error warning. What is this error warning about? And then when you right click, go to the details, and it tells you exactly what the problem is. Now this is something then of course your sysadmin will be coming over here and he's going to be fixing this stuff, right? So that's where things are happening right now. If you look at the client status right here, you can see the client activity, all that kind of stuff is over here. So you may be given some access to read-only access to just check things. You're not able to do things, but you're able to check things so you can report it. So that could be one of your job as well. Now coming back to our issue, why can't we connect to that client? That's because in administration, if you go to the client settings over here, someone have to define all of these settings on your client, and that is where everything is happening right now. So if you look at default client settings right here, if you right click on it, you go to properties, that's where everything is happening. So this is where we need to come down and look. We cannot go over all of these things because of course then that becomes a SCCM or configuration manager training. We only need to worry about the remote tools part of it. Okay, now in your company, if they're using SCCM and they're gonna have you use this stuff, and they're using remote tools feature from configuration manager SCCM, then they will 100% have this enabled, because it's such a powerful tool that a lot of people will be using this feature more than any other feature. Of course they can do deployments and other things like that, but that's another thing, right? So here we're gonna come over here and we need to actually enable that remote control. We're gonna enable it, and right here it says domain, private, all that kind of stuff. We're gonna check all of these right here, and we're gonna click OK for this test purpose. So as soon as I click configure, then this is where things will start, right? It says allow remote control of an unattended computer. Yes, all this kind of stuff is yes. This is where if your administrator want to control the way you control other clients, and you are not able to do certain things, that's where they have actually made changes. So you can see access level is allowed, view only. So if you're working in a very secure environment and they just want you to just watch things but don't do things, they're gonna have to change it from here. And then if you're new to SCCM, then you'll be like, okay, well, why am I clicking here? Why can't I just click on things? That's because someone have limited you from doing that. So if you come over here, we have all this stuff available. We're just gonna say okay for now. We're not changing anything. We just changed it to enable, and we just clicked okay. And that's it. After that, your client will, because it has interval to refresh, it's gonna go out there and basically do that. If you don't want to wait on a client machine, simply go back. Let's go back over here, control panel, configuration manager, and let's go back here. And if you look at the components, let's go down. So remote tool agent is disabled. We can go to action, and then here we need to go to the machine retrieval policy and run this right now. So it's going to go ahead and it's going to take several minutes to finish, and it's going to end that, right? So this is where we need to come back and then see that what happens to that. So of course you have this other things over here available. You can actually do that if you are using those type of different type of policies and different type of features. Then you would come over here. Okay, so now we are going to finish this and just wait till this finish up. Still disabled. Alright, so after some time, if things are still not working, this could be exactly how you're going to be working as a support professional, trying to configure an image or a brand new laptop for a user. You go to the component and double check it that is it working or not. So far not working. So what do? Where is this installation now? That's what you need to know, right? You somehow automatically it got installed, or maybe it's not installed. So I'll show you how the installation works. But before that, let's see how you can uninstall it. Where does it install? So in this automatic lab, if you're using it, then it's already installed, right? So if you're going to go back to the Windows, in Windows folder, it's right here, CCM setup. Okay, that's where the client installation is done and everything is running. So how do I uninstall it? It doesn't give you a kind of like an easy way to go ahead and you uninstall it from add and remove. You have to actually come from here, right click on the command line, go to the administrator, like open the command line as an admin. So again, I'm using basic skills, CMD. We're back again with the CMD stuff. So all you have to do to get to that path, you have to write CD, and once you write CD, you have to write the path full address, which is basically Windows, and then you have to type CCM setup, right? So that's where it is installed. So when you do that, it's gonna take you to that path now, and you can run the uninstallation command from here, ccm setup.exe, which is basically the application / what is the switch of this. Actually, the was what is the switch of this, you have to type the whole uninstall. Sometimes we use different products like group policy or some other products like PDQ deployment to do this automatically, which is something we will talk about it later on when we understand the basics. So once you hit enter, now it's going to go out and it's going to uninstall this agent from this machine. And after this, I'm going to actually restart this machine just so it has a clean way of installation on the new for the new agent. So you can, of course, you don't have to restart it, but we need to now wait for this to uninstall. So two things that I show you. One, it was when there was an issue happening on a client machine, how things are connected. But then when there's an issue going on, you need to know how to uninstall this agent and reinstall it back from the server. And here I'm going to show you directly how to use the codes, or the whole how is it going to go back and connect. We're going to actually do that right now. All right, so uninstallation's done. Of course, restart done. So if you come back over here, C, and then you go back to the Windows, there's nothing else remaining. I can actually remove this folder if I don't want this. Okay, now I can go back and I can just go to the server, which is demo ps01 / where is this whole installation? We already talked about this. Microsoft Manager. I'm just going to copy this whole folder and drop it on this right here, on this machine. So that's one of the powerful way that we use that $C sign from a network. All right, so now I'm done with that. I'm gonna go ahead and right click on this CCM exe. So I'm reinstalling this agent again. If you're a support professional, you would have this in your USB or maybe some other methods, whatever you want to use, but that's what we're doing right now. We're reinstalling the agent again. So then you will wait for a few minutes over here. If you want to see if it's running, go to Task Manager, and there you go. It's right here, it's still running. All right, so now you can see, if let's say click on it, then we have this. After when we have done this, you can see the codes and things have changed a little bit over here. You can check over here by coming down. Remote tool agent is installed now. By coming to site, you can verify the code. Now, what if in your situation things are not working? So there are many things that can happen in CCM, because like I said, this is a very complex setup. This is where if things are not working, then of course you need to do this manually then. And to do this manually, I have shown you in the beginning, this is what you need to do. The first thing is, of course, you need to uninstall this client. And how do you do this? You're going to go back to the basics by right clicking on the CMD, and here where is it, this client is actually installed. So let's go back to this PC, let's go to Windows, and in Windows it's CCM setup. This is where it's actually installed. Okay, so when you want to uninstall this, you have to get to this path basically, and the path is, if you come over here, that's the path right there. So what you can do, you can just type cd like that, just cd, and then just type the whole path over here and then click enter. Now you're inside the path. Okay, the reason I did a copy paste to not have a mistake. If you want to uninstall this application, simply type setup, ccm setup.exe, and then you're gonna use the slash right on the left side of the left side of the shift key. I call this forward, you can call it backslash. Here you're gonna type uninstall switch. Okay, so here uninstall, and you enter. So this should remove it. And then how do you actually how do you install it again? You need to go back to where this client is basically available. So // you're gonna go to the server that where it's installed, and then you're gonna go into the program file, you're gonna go into Microsoft configuration and just copy this whole folder right here, and then right click and click on administrator like that, and it will install it, reinstall it again. If it's still not working, then there's some kind of issue with your server side or the database, the SQL side. So yes, you may go ahead and if you have this type of issue, usually it's around the firewall. So just go ahead and type the firewall like that on all of these machines, and disable the firewall on all of these machines, because maybe there's a connection issue. But again, you won't be doing this type of, the last thing that I showed you, you won't be doing that in a real environment. So for you to understand this in the beginning, you just, in the lab environment, you can do this. But if you want to learn SCCM at the level where you want to fix things, then of course, then you need to go back to the server and actually find out from the logs over here if you what is the issue. So on the client side, you still get logs, right? You can go to this PC, you can double click on here, Windows, and you can check this log right here to make sure that is what's going on. Then the same way, you need to find the same log in the server. There are gazillion amount of logs in SCCM. So once you become good at it, and if you want to learn this stuff, then you cannot do this without SCCM logs. It's very powerful, but again, you just cannot do it without logs. It gives you every single log in there. Okay, so at this point, we know that our installation worked, and I already showed you some troubleshooting steps, how to remove it, reinstall it. All that kind of stuff will be part of your job to make sure that the client is working. So now let's go back to the server. So here, let's go to the server, and you can see I have this issue, and that's what I was talking about. You need to then understand this if you want to learn this on an admin level. So how do you now connect to that machine? You're going to go back to the devices and look at this. We have this check mark in there that represents something, that something is happening. So if we right click right now and we go back to start and do remote control tools, it's going in there, connection, connected, asking the remote user to allow the remote control. Okay, that's kind of weird. So that's, of course, if you now you need to understand things, right, where things are happening right now. So if I go back to the client machine, it's asking the client for approval. So in your company, they may require this type of approval, and then a client or a staff member has to approve or deny this request. So if it timed out. So but most cases, if we are doing this type of support, a lot of time companies will have ability to not have this, right? So maybe they just want you to take over because client may be stuck somewhere, or they may not be able to do that. So in most of the cases in the companies, usually they won't have anything like that. So then, of course, this is coming from where? You should know that all of these settings are coming from this settings right here. So where did we left this right now? Let's go ahead and see remote control. And it says right here, prompt users for permission to transfer. So this is basically prompt users for remote control permission. There you go. That is what basically is asking. prompt users for remote control permission. So I'm going to say no and click OK. So now that's not going to be an issue right there. So again, if we're going to go back to the client right now, and we're going to go back to this right here, go to components and action, and we're going to do machine policy run now. It's going to take some time. So it's probably going to take a second, but of course we can try it. So again, how do you do remote control? Hello, I'm having an issue. I'm having some problem with my email. Okay, no problem. Let me just get on your machine. I will be on your machine in a few seconds. Okay, you're just gonna give them warning, right? So remote control, connecting to the host, asking. Okay, again, of course it's gonna take time, so I'm just gonna cancel it right now and wait for it, because of course. And sometimes if you want to try restart, maybe you can do that, but I won't do that. I'm just going to wait for this to finish up its cycle, and then we can give it a try again. Okay, so that's how it works. I mean, it's so cool. So after that, of course, once this is done, I'm going to show you this last thing, and after that we are going to go into another things like software deployments, which is another piece of it, and then of course some little tiny things in support level. And that is the only thing that you should be worried about. Really, there's nothing more. If you are worried about more stuff, then you should learn SCCM, then configuration manager, at the admin level, if that's your worry now. Other than that, there's nothing else. Again, keep it very simple. You're not going to be doing any troubleshooting on the server end. If there's an issue with this client not getting connected at all, then you should contact your sysadmins or SCCM guys or level 2 people. You shouldn't be taking that kind of stress that, okay, now I need to learn about the whole different thing that has no end of learning. So you will be stuck in this type of learning then. Okay, so don't take that stress. Just do what you can do from your end, and if once you kind of do this one time and you connect it, forget about it and move on to something that is going to be more important in learning in JSS, because that's what we believe in, right? Okay, so again, this is going to take time. Once this whole cycle is over, it's going to get connected. I just wanted to show you that how it works. So I'm just going to show you how it looks like when we get connected. So let's go ahead, connect, and I'm going to go jump in quickly to this, approve, and boom, I got connected right now. You can see on the top, they're going to see who is connected to this machine right there. So if you come back over here, let's see. Now, because I messed up there you go. So this machine, the RDP, is now being controlled by you as a technician. And I know it's very simple. Like, if you think about it, this is very simple, right? You just like, okay, you're gonna go to the company, everything is set up for you. But when things are not working, that's where you get to take stress as a beginner. If this client was not working and you didn't know how to troubleshoot, then that is where you're going to have problems. So from this whole video, I want you to just concentrate on a few small things. Where is the client? Where can you go and install this client again? Where can you copy the client folder on your USB? Where can you check the logs? Where can you do the uninstall and reinstall from a command line? And then of course after that you can test it. If things are still not working, you should know that this should go to someone else. That's it. Keep it simple. Thank you for watching this video.